Hi, Trevor here, reflecting on life through music. Welcome and thank you for stopping by. It is fantastic that you have joined me today. Well, I trust you enjoyed my last video on the iconic soft rock band Bread, and probably one of the most beautiful songs ever, If a picture paints 1,000 words, why can't it paint you? Absolutely stunning words, absolutely stunning chords. The whole thing is just a beautiful song. So I trust you enjoyed that one. Well, we go from those guys to Christian singer-songwriters Brian and Jenn Johnson today. Now, as I've talked about a few times now, the Christian genre probably goes into the inner workings of who we are as human beings better than any other genre does. You know, what are our goals? What are our aspirations? What are our dreams? How can we be kind to people? All that sort of stuff. And so I encourage you to stay with me for the next little while. Now, obviously, if you are in the church, you would know who Brian and Jenn Johnson are because they are part of the Bethel community in the United States and California. If you're not, that's fine, because these guys have actually released 5 albums in their own right and 13 albums as collaborations with other people, again including the Bethel Church in particular, and that's between 2001 and 2017. So relatively big output, really, an album a year almost. Now, these guys have won a Dove Award. Now, again, for those of you who don't know what Dove Awards actually are, it's awards celebrating the Christian music industry and significance and creativity in that particular industry. And so, you know, to win a Dove Award is very, very good indeed. Now, as I shared in my video last time with Brett, I talked about the fact that these guys had a message to the world right now. And it's through this song, You're Gonna Be Okay. Now, we've got to be really, really careful with Christian music sometimes, because there is a genre within Christian music called worship music. Now, if you aren't in the church scene, that particular genre just isn't really going to make sense. So I'm very, very careful when I choose my videos. I'm not really going to ever choose anything from that line unless there's something that just really, really fits. And so I was very fortunate to find this song by Jenn Johnson in particular, who's singing this song, You're Gonna Be Okay. And yeah, I feel comfortable to be able to share this one with you today because, you know, you guys watch in good faith, and I'm going to respect that with all I can. And at the same time, we're going to look at many genres because that's how good music actually is. It covers all sorts of places. So this particular song, You're Gonna Be Okay, came off the 2017 album After All These Years. Now, was it a message to the world? Well, quite simply, the title, You're Gonna Be Okay. 2020 has been a crazy, crazy year. It really, really has. You know, in Australia, we had bushfires at the beginning of the year, and there was tragedy certainly in that. And then the coronavirus hit, and we are in the midst of a pandemic right now. In fact, in South Australia, where I live, announced this morning that has been another little cluster after we've been doing so well for so long. It just goes to show that we cannot turn our back on this thing even for a second. And you know what it's like, you know, when life is really dark, and as I shared in Bonnie Tyler's Total Eclipse of the Heart a little while back, I talked about the fact that even though life can be dark and sad and horrible, and you know, you don't know which way to turn or which way to go, as we saw in the Total Eclipse of the Heart video, there is strategically placed light in every single shot. Now, one of the things I talked about in that particular video was the fact that even though there's darkness all around you and it feels like things are bleak, there is also light there. Light is the thing, if we look really, really practically, is the thing that gets you up in the morning. Light is the thing that will get you to eat something. Light is the thing that will get you to have a cup of coffee. Light is the thing that keeps you kind of going, even though you don't want to. You know, you prefer just to lay in bed and just put the quilt over your head. But the light says, no, get up. Come on, let's get up and let's just at least do something. This is the incredible thing about us as human beings. There's often two things going on at the same time. You know, when there's someone has died, we're really, really, really sad by the fact that they're no longer here. But at the same time, we also want to celebrate their life. We want to rekindle or remember the good things. It's an interesting that we have as human beings. So when there is darkness, there's also light. In fact, darkness can only exist because of light, and vice versa. The two kind of go together. And as human beings, we're often looking and putting both of these things together. So the hope that you're feeling, even if it's just a small thing, is actually the light. And hopefully over time, the light will overwhelm the darkness. And I think when you're in those particular moments, you know, there are basically three outcomes from this particular moment. I mean, there's going to be each outcome is going to be varied by each person because we're all different and we all do life in different ways. But basically, either we'll stay where we are, we'll move forward. Now, when I say move forward, I'm not meaning like we just ignore it all and pretend like it's not there. Now, what we do is we take stock and we learn what we need to learn. And then with that experience, we move forward. I think it's an argument to say that the tragedies that we feel, that will always be part of us. It's just that the strength and the priority of it lessens over time. And I think, you know, we can learn from those moments, and then we take that learning forward. If we don't take stock of the things that happen when we are in these devastating times, well, we might have that devastating time again because maybe we need to learn something about ourselves. You know, there's a part of ours. Now, there's four parts of us really. There's the bit that we know and nobody else does. And there's the bit that other people know and we don't. And then there's the bit that you know and everybody else knows. And then there's the bit that nobody knows. It's unexplored territory. And, you know, certainly the parts where the other people know and you don't and nobody knows, surely you want to uncover more and more of those bits and move them into the bits that you know. It's called the Johari Window if you just want to look it up. And I think, you know, if we don't take stock of when tragedy happens and learn from it, well, we're missing the opportunity that tragedy actually can bring, for forcing us to stop and to listen and to think and to look. So yeah, we can stay where we are. We can move forward, bringing with us the experiences that we've had. And the third option, well, I'm not going to talk about the third option because none of us likes to consider the third option, but it is an option. It really is. But it's better to, I think, consider the learnings that we have and to grow through those moments. Because after all, we've invested so much in these times of tragedy. That investment needs a return. It really, really does. And that's what tragedy can bring and force us to do. And as I've shared before, there is light in tragedy. Just need to look for it. And hopefully that will overwhelm the darkness over time. This is what Brian and Jenn Johnson in their song You're Gonna Be Okay is basically saying. What they're saying is, look guys, you're gonna be okay. You're gonna be okay. You're gonna be okay. You're going to be okay. You may not be okay right now, but you're gonna be okay. You're gonna come out the other side if you choose to. You're gonna come out the other side and you're gonna be okay. The words are just so simple, but they're also so powerful and so compelling. And Bethel Church, given the I suppose influence they have in the world, this is in a sense a plea and a call to the world right now. Even who would have thought in 2017 when they wrote this song that in 2020 we need these words more than ever? Because the world is dark. We actually don't know what this coronavirus thing even is really. We're putting in the protections and we're ensuring that we try and do the right things to keep it safe. But we don't really know what this thing is. We're applying principles, I suppose, of health that we've learned in the past. But we really, really don't know what this thing is. And when we're in the middle of it right now, it can feel really, really dark, particularly if you've been in lockdown for weeks. You're thinking, oh my goodness, another day at home. You're going to be okay. You're going to be okay. You're going to be okay. You may see people around you that maybe have not been able to get through it. There's been a death, and you know, it's not. You think, well, how can it be okay when I'm seeing that around me? Sometimes we need to put ourselves a little bit away and a little bit aside from those other things and think, well, how am I going? I suppose today I'm speaking to those of you who are kind of getting through this, kind of doing life through it. You're gonna be okay. I've said you're going to be okay a few times now. I think the issue is that you know, you can have someone say that to you all day, every day. But I think maybe the you're going to be okay needs to be I'm going to be okay. You really are. You really, really are. I think maybe it can be comfortable even staying in the tragedy at times. It's safer. We know what it is. This concept of happiness. Can we trust happiness even? But if you do want to move out of the tragedy, look to the light. Look to the stuff that makes you want to do just the little things that you do and focus on that more than anything else. You're going to be okay. I'm saying that to myself as well, actually. You're going to be okay, Trevor. You're going to be okay, whatever your name is. Call yourself by name. You're going to be okay. This is the plea of Brian and Jenn Johnson with their song from 2017. Who would have thought that perhaps in 2020 we need to hear these words? And that's why I needed to include this clip today. Well, on to the clips. Now, I thought I'd get two versions of this particular song. We do have, I suppose, the lyric video version. There's some beautiful pictures put to the, I suppose, official recording of this song. And I thought I'd also, obviously, we have to include a live version. Now, this is a version from Bethel Church in particular. Now, I've gone very, very careful here and haven't gone for something. I've gone for something that seems quite safe. It feels a little bit more like a concert, and people are, and it's really quite a good clip. You get to see what church is like these days in some places, how big it is and how many people are there. Obviously, this is before coronavirus. And so just be aware that, you know, this is the way some churches are these days. And you just see how amazing Jenn Johnson's voice actually is. When you're up there in front of 20, 30,000 people, however many people they have at Bethel, you need to be able to lead, and you need to be able to do it in a way that's going to be encouraging to people. And Jenn Johnson is just so good at doing that. So the links to those songs are in the descriptions below. So feel free to have a look at both of those ones. And if you're a bit, I suppose, concerned about church stuff, just relax and just realise that I've kind of got your back on this, all right? And I've also included, by the way, my commentary from last time from the band Bread, and the song If. So if you want to recap on that one, feel free. Well, thank you very much for coming back for another video. It's always fantastic to get the engagement I'm getting, so thank you very much for that. If you've hung around to the end, fantastic. And to hear those words again, you're going to be okay. So I trust all of that will be an encouragement for you. Well, that's it for today. Next time, we're going to go on to pop artist Britt Nicole. So until then, I'll catch you around.